Looks like we're recording. Okay, so here you have C major chord. What is the dominant of a C major chord? The 5 chord. The dominant chord is the 5 chord. So the chord built on G, a G dominant. First you build a G major. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Add 3 more half steps, please, for the dominant of it. 4, 3, 3. Here's your G7. And that G7 chord wants to go to C major. It wants to go there. Why does it want to go there? Well, this is a very interesting point. It happens to be part of the G7 chord is a tritone. And that tritone, considered diabolos in musica, the devil in music, because it doesn't sound so good to certain ears anyway. It's a very unstable dyad, an unstable interval, the tritone. It doesn't feel like it's stable. It's going somewhere. It's uncomfortable, put it that way. Where does it want to go? It wants to go here, and T wants to go here. So that's the function of the tritone going inward. So that D is a little less important because you have the dominant to tonic relationship. That 5 also has an uncomfortable situation where it just is not happy being here. It wants to go home. It's the dominant over the tonic. It's the second most heaviest, well, it's the second most important chord, and it dominates over C. And that relationship, is also an important one that coordinates with, let's put that together, and that's why the dominant to tonic relationship is so important. Now we could use a deceptive cadence if we want. We're still going to a C and E, but instead of C, E, G, we go to A, C, E. But anywho, we are now on this relationship of dominant to tonic, or 5 to 1. Same thing. 5 to 1 is dominant to 1 tonic. And there are many different inversions of that dominant to tonic relationship. So don't get confused by it. I could take the inversion of this tritone and play B and F as F and B. And then you have it's the same structural relationship, it's just different inversions. But let's stick to the dominant to tonic relationship. So, as we move across the cycle of fifths to G major, we have the scale G major and the G major chord. Now, the fifth of G major, or the scale or the chord, is D. So D becomes the dominant of G major. once again, the key is G major. The chord of that scale is G major chord. Its dominant would be the D7 chord. Great. How to build that D7 chord? Take the major chord D, which is built 4 and 3. Now add 3 more half steps. So the structure of a dominant chord is 4 half steps, 3 half steps, and 3 more half steps. Here's your D7. You want to be advanced, take the middle note there, the second note, play it in the bass. Get a little classical progression. But we're in the key of G. Now you can go up to the 5th, but you can also go down a 4th to get to that D. Because the 5th of the scale is also found 4 below. In order to find the D below G, we're going from 8, 7, 6, 5. So a 4th below or a 5th above is the dominant. Okay, so once again, we're on step 1 of the cycle of fifths, which is found at 1 o'clock on your clock, G major. Now in the diatonic chord progression, the 2 chord, we're following everything just with F sharp. That's the 2 chord, it's minor. 3 chord is minor. 4 chord is called the subdominant, and that's major. 5 chord is dominant when it's a 4-note chord. And then we get minor. And then we get diminished. And then we're back home to the 1 chord. So if we notice, every time we come to an F, we play F sharp. Now on the 3 chord, that's major, minor, minor, minor. So it's major, minor, minor, major. And the 5 chord in its 4-note position is dominant, minor for the 6, diminished or half diminished for the 7 chord, and back to major. So our diatonic chord progression in G major is just triads, 3-note chords, major, minor, minor, major, and that's 1/2 of the scale called a tetrachord. It's not a chord, it's just a group of 4 notes, and then the second tetrachord, so to speak. F sharp. Now the next chord is also going to have an F sharp in it. This also, so we have 3 chords with an F sharp in it. B minor, D major, F sharp diminished. B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, G major. In the 7-note position, in the 7th chord position, we get a major 7th, we get a minor 7th, minor 7th, a major 7th. Now the major 7th chord is a combination of a bittersweet chord. It's sad and happy. Happy and sad together. It's a very mellow chord. Okay, so its 5 chord. Here's the 5 chord, that's dominant. The 4 chord is called a major 7th chord. major 7th chord. Just like the 1 chord is major 7th. And there are a lot of songs that are based on mellow. I threw in the 2 there as a color. Put my thumb on A and B. Throw in the 9th. It's called a major 9th chord. And then let's go to the 5. That's dominant. So there are 2 different kinds of 7th chords. The major 7th is 4, 3, 4, not 4, 3, 3. Now don't get confused, because a C7 is the dominant of F. We'll get to that later when we get to 11 o'clock on the cycle of fifths. We could take a quick look at that now. We went up to G for 1 o'clock. We went down 5 to go backwards in the cycle of fifths to F major. Remember F major? Whole step, half. Whole step, half. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. So the dominant of F is C, 4, 3, 3. Of course, a C major chord and 3 more. There's your C7 going to F major. Go to the 4 chord, to the 5 chord, to the 1. In every progression, we could also incorporate the subdominant chord, like in F. The 4 chord now, when I played that 4 dominant, that A flat really doesn't belong in F, does it? I get a few Mikol Malamdai Hiskalti points from all my students, have I learned. So really that A flat is borrowed from the minor of F, actually. So F major, C7 chord is the 5-7. So if we want to be au natural here in the key of F, change the key to a little borrowed minor. So the challenge of teaching music theory, of course, is integrating all these concepts at lightning speed so the student moves ahead. And for me not to get too far ahead of myself. So let's go back to the cycle of fifths. We were in G major with 1 sharp, and its dominant was D7, G major. If we want to add the 4 chord, we would have G, C, D, G, C, D, G, G, sorry, C, D, G. Now you could play D, add the 7th, and then G. once again, these variations of inversions, you can add the C on top, or you can add the C on bottom. And you get these little inner lines. Great. Why don't we do another key? We're in D major. You don't have to be in D major. You could be in another key, but within the relationship of D and its dominant, the fifth of D, right now we're in 2 o'clock. We're at 2 o'clock in a cycle of fifths. 2 o'clock because there are 2 black notes in D major. F sharp and C sharp. Okay, so it's either the D major chord that we're thinking or the D scale. And its dominant is the fifth of the scale, A. So we build an A major chord, 3 more for the dominant, A7. Look at what it looks like, remember that. Don't mind the D flat, it's an A, C sharp, E, G. Maybe I can go and switch this to the, see if we can go to the display options there and go to sharps, since we're in sharp keys for the time being. There we go. And we're getting better and better all the time. And that's the dominant of what? D as in David. Okay, so the dominant of D major, or the dominant of a D chord, is A. And we should get into inversions of dominant chords in a future lesson. I need to make a little mental note of that. Remember, we could take that third of the dominant and put it in the bass. We get a nice little relationship there, too. Okay, so to review, C major, G7, C. Go up a fifth to G major. Its dominant is D7. Going up another fifth from G to D. Its dominant is A7. Okay, so now we got to go to the fifth of D, to the A scale. Remember the A scale? Whole step, half, whole step, half. 3 black notes. Its dominant, the fifth, is E. And we're going to build an E dominant 7th chord, 4, 3, 3. Is the E major, and now to add the 7th. There's your E7 chord. Great. So that's 3 o'clock on the cycle of fifths. Interestingly enough, it's dominant. E7 is going to be our new key when we go up to 4 sharps on the cycle of fifths. E major. 4 sharps. Whole step, half. Whole step, half. B major. B dominant. 4 and 3. And 3 more. B7. So, key of E, it's dominant, B7. It's subdominant, A, B. So we could go through the cycle as well with 1, 4, and 5. So let's say C, the 4 chord or subdominant, 5 chord or dominant, back to 1. G, 4 chord, 5 chord, 1 chord. Let's go up a fifth to 2 o'clock, D major. It's 4 chord, D major, 4 chord, 5 chord, in this chord progression of 1, 4, 5, 1, these are all the major chords within that diatonic chord progression. So going back to C for a second, take it here, 1, so it's major, minor, minor, major. So it's major here, major here, major here, minor, diminished, major. So the major chords are 1, 4, 5, 1. So within that diatonic chord progression of major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major, the only major chords are 1, 4, 5, 1. Hence rock and roll and blues. Let's go 1 o'clock on the cycle of fifths to G. Just a major chord. Show off, so do that in G flat. Well, maybe you want to do that in A flat. In any key. D flat up to 4, G flat up to A flat. So what's the benefit of music theory? One of them is you could play in any key. Number 2 is you have access to composing. Composition is very much based on theory, in my opinion. A major. Why don't we go to 3 o'clock? 3 sharps. Whole step, half, whole step, half. There's a half step between 3 and 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Between 7 and 8 and 3 and 4. Half step. The rest are whole steps. Whole step, half. Whole step, half. Its dominant would be an E chord. 1, 4, 5, 1. So, shake it up, baby. 1 to 4 chord, 5 chord. A, D, E. A, D, 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 E. I did a little borrow from the minor there. That was like a D minor. D minor 6th. Or B half diminished. Which is really borrowed from A minor. We can get into that minor key. As you see, there are so many different topics that we want to get into here. I think I'm going to give my students the 1-4-5-1 relationship next after the 1-5-1 relationship. And we'll do that in maybe 6 to 8 keys. So once again, 1-5-1 relationship. The dominant has that tritone in it, which which causes the dominant to tonic relationship to be so powerful. The 5-1 wants to go there, and this wants to go. It's powerful. So, a few concepts here in the lesson today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and like. You know the drill. If you can comment, that helps the metrics or whatever they want to call it. If anybody wants to study privately with me, I'll offer very, very fair prices on Zoom. And you could please contact me. My email is on the channel description. Have an amazing day. And don't forget, meritocracy. If you want to get an A, earn it. Take care.